Hi, and welcome to this video where we're going to take a behind-the-scenes look at the making of this photo. And here's the original concept sketch that I had months ago, and I know I'm an amazing drawer. Da Vinci over here, may as well retire while I'm ahead. But anyway, I lost a bunch of the footage from the beginning of this process, so here are some photos. These are the materials I used to make the giant candle. I used some dryer tubing and some filler and some spray paint. And then one day I was walking outside and just found this kiddie pool on the side of the road, so I snatched that and it would eventually become the candle holder. So to make the candle itself, basically I just put the two pieces of tubing together and then used the spray foam to create the melting wax that was coming down the sides. My original intention was to use sandpaper to sand it down and smooth it out, but that really didn't work very well, so I ended up using paper mache to cover over the wax to smooth it out a little bit. And I hadn't intended on doing that, so that's why I painted it first, but it all worked out in the end. It was fine. So here I am paper macheing away, trying to cover all of the wax and really kind of smooth it out, but still leave a little bit of texture there. So now on to the candle holder. I ended up cutting the bottom out of the kiddie pool because it was a little bit big, so I wanted to be able to bring the sides of it in to make it smaller. And I also needed to wash it down because it had been left outside to the elements and was quite dirty. And from there I used foam core to make the handle and cut it out. And then I made some slits in the side so that it could kind of poke through and get glued down. Then I adjusted the sides of the kiddie pool to the size that I wanted and basically just taped it down. I probably put some glue in to extra secure it, but I can't remember, honestly. And then I cut some cardboard out in the size to fit the bottom of this new candle holder. And then I used a bunch of hot glue to keep that in place, added the handle, and then all that was left was to give it a healthy dose of bronze spray paint. And I love metallic spray paint. It is basically the best thing ever, and I don't even want to think about how many cans of gold spray paint I have bought in my lifetime. It is a lot. What up, Krylon? You want to sponsor me or what? And then it was on to making some matches to light this candle with. So I ended up using the tubing inside of wrapping paper rolls because that was kind of the size and width that I wanted it. So here I am making one that has already been burnt, so it's a little bit crumpled, and I basically just used newspaper and packing paper to kind of make the shape of the tip of it. And so I made one that was used and then one that was brand new. So here I am given a base coat, kind of tidying it up a bit. I used newspaper for the new one, so I ended up having to put white paint all over to give a good base so that the red would really pop. And then I wanted to make a matchstick box bed for this scene, so I ended up using a big cardboard box and cutting it to size to be the sleeve that's on the outside of the box that actually holds the matches. And so here I am just kind of filling in the little spots where you would strike the match, and I decided to use a marker because it's a lot easier to keep steady than a paintbrush for me. Then I basically just made up a matches brand and went to town being a graphic artist on this box, and basically I just wanted it to look nice, and I hope that it did, but I don't know. I'm not very good at these things. But anyway, here it is. So now that all of the props are done, it is time to shoot this thing. So here we are in the garage, tidying it up to make a space where we can shoot in. And this garage has actually taken quite an overhaul, getting turned into a studio. And if you want to see a bit more behind the scenes of that process, then you can check out some of my previous vlogs. So I had collected some pine needles that had fallen down to kind of fill this bed with to make it a little cozier. And hey yo, you can see where I missed painting that candle holder a bit. Yeah, but we just put the camera at an angle where you won't notice that, and it is a-okay, I promise. So yeah, then we hit the lights and started to shoot this, and I used one of those tiki torch wicks for the candle because they are a lot bigger, and I just soaked the wick in some lighter fluid so that it would burn a little bit longer, and took some photos. So then I brought it into Photoshop and the magic began. There were a few things that just needed some tidying up, like me forgetting to move the shovels and the rakes from the side. Whoops, my bad. And also this piece of wood that has been nailed into the side of the garage was a little bit distracting to the image, so I decided to remove it, which I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, but you know, we do the best we can. And from there, I just wanted to make some adjustments to bring out some of the highlights, deepen some of the shadows, darken the image a little bit overall, just to make it seem like it's really by the glow of this giant candle. I also wanted to do a little bit of color toning just to kind of give it a little bit of a warmth. And I struggled with this a little bit, and I'm not entirely sure why. There was something that was bothering me the whole time about the colors that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But again, you do the best that you can. The way that the wax had shot, it was still a little bit rough. I wasn't sure if a second coat of paper mache may have smoothed it out a bit more, or if it would look the exact same. So I just addressed this in post, and for the most part, I like to fix things in camera rather than depend on Photoshop, but sometimes things happen. You forget to move the rakes and the wax looks a little rough, so you do the best that you can in your post-production, and that's all you can do, really. I mean, the majority of the time, the things that really bother you about something that you have created only bother you. Other people don't really notice it as much. They're not as close in this microscopic view of your work as you are. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, no matter what your craft is, you know. So thank you for sticking around to the end of the video and coming on this journey with me and taking a look into what went into making this image. I loved having you along, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye!